Hey, how's it going? Before the video starts, I just wanted to say that my camera decided to turn on both auto exposure and autofocus by itself, but only sometimes. So some of the footage can be a bit hard on the eyes if you are sensitive to that sort of thing, particularly during the time-lapse sections. I did my best to edit it post-filming, but the time-lapse footage in particular, I think might constitute as flashing images. I don't think it's too bad, but also I don't get bothered by that sort of stuff, so I just wanted to put in a quick warning here, just in case. And you'll be able to tell which footage is a time-lapse by my little talking avatar popping up in the bottom right corner of the screen. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. You know about comfort characters. They're those characters that you think about to give yourself a little joy in life. And I'm gonna be honest, in the godforsaken year of 2025, the year that has us all spiraling and contemplating if we should just let the impending doom constantly looming over us just put us all out of our misery, I've been thinking about my comfort characters almost constantly. There's just something about my silly little guys that makes life worth living, and I think artists have a leg up on the comfort character game. If you run out of content to consume, you can just make some. But as an artist, I'm convinced my comfort character hates me. If you're new here, my comfort character is actually 4 characters. Laxus and the Thunder Legion from my favorite anime fairy tale has such a chokehold on me. And Freed, Bixlow, and Evergreen don't give me any issues when I draw them. But Laxus, this bitch, gives me so many issues, and I decided I'm done with it. So today I will be taking you on a journey where I do my damn best to learn to draw him. I figured the best way to go about it was to focus on the face first, specifically by copying manga panels to learn how his face looks. I don't want this coming off as a flex of all of my fairy tale manga that I have, because it's not a flex, it's a cry for help. I'm experiencing an issue. I don't... Okay, hold on. First of all, how do I get these to open flat? Second of all, where do I put them? It's fine. I'm definitely prepared for this video. Definitely seemed like a great idea and concept, and then I realized as soon as I started filming, manga doesn't lay flat. How I constantly drew manga pages growing up, I have no idea. I don't know how I did it. Can I also use my pencil case? Good enough. I do also have some tracing paper scraps handy if I need it, so I can like trace over to really get the face down. I want to try and avoid doing that, but depending on how much I struggle, we'll see. I also did not warm up. And it's funny, I literally thought about it. I was like, since I'm gonna be struggling a lot in this video, I assume I should do some warm-up sketches. It does kind of suck that this is like right in the spine, the fold of the book. An unexpected issue I come across when I draw characters like Laxus. It's the neck. I didn't realize that I drew really skinny, scrawny looking necks all the time, but... So I think for the first few... Oh god, my chair is squeaking. Like and subscribe so I can afford a new chair. But I think for first few, I'm probably going to copy them directly and then try to translate that into my style, and then eventually I think I want to stop leaning on the arm of this chair so it squeaks, but also eventually I'll just like skip the copying it in fairy tale art style and go straight to mine. 'Cause first I gotta figure out how his everything works before I try and draw it in my style. Then another issue I hate drawing noses. I hate it so much, and I feel like no matter how I try to stylize it in my style, it just doesn't look right. And so I'll either draw just like a tiny little line, or I'll just like not draw a nose at all. It works when I'm drawing my like super cutesy shoujo ass fucking uwu cute anime girls, but I feel like I can't really do that with him, because I feel like if I were to just forego the nose on him, it would be obvious that I'm just trying to avoid the nose. His scar goes over his eyebrow, but that's going to be hard for me to draw without drawing his eyebrow first. We're just going to ignore that detail when a scar and eyebrow overlap. When that happens, no it didn't. The reason Laxus gives me so much trouble is because he's the exact opposite of what my artistic comfort zone is. For those of you who have never seen my art before, these are the characters I typically draw. This is what comes easy to me, and this is what I usually enjoy drawing. Now look at Laxus. Are you seeing my problem? Still, I was determined to figure him out. There he is. Let's just get this in here. Tracing this, I'm Yes, Car. You can go vroom. Tracing this, something I am realizing. Big reason why his hair gives me a lot of issues. One, I dislike drawing long flowy hair, and he does not have that. But also, whenever I draw hair, like many artists, I break things down into shapes first, and then add individual strands and stuff like that. But you can't really do that with his hair. There's like the tuft in the front, and then the rest of it, which is not how I work when I draw hair. Let's see how I fucked up. Just taking a quick glance, I definitely made his face wider and I think shorter. Only wider, and I'm struggling with those sharp angles, which I expected. I gotta make it longer, thinner face. It's gonna be tough for me, but I'll do my best. For him, anything. A good thing about this drawing is that he's wearing headphones, so I don't gotta draw the ears, but the bad part about this drawing is that he's wearing headphones, which means I can't see the ears, and that helps me place proportions. I'm gonna be drawing a lot more of him, so I don't want to get too in the weeds. But I'm gonna get a little in the weeds. He does have longer eyelashes, which I do appreciate. You make me struggle so much. Having pretty eyes is the least you can do for me. Oh, Abigail, anything to say? Abby, please don't nibble on my arms while I'm working. We've been over this, young lady. And what did I just say? I know, you love me, and I love you too, but I'm trying to work. The scar's a lot thinner than I remember. Maybe it gets thicker later. That is another reason that I do kind of struggle to draw him, and it's not because of me. It's because his face is drawn differently throughout the series. We'll just do some implied hair over here, and then we'll figure it out later. I don't know if I'm just like super insecure about the way that I draw him, but I don't love it. But going better than I thought it would. But regardless of how I felt, I had to continue forward. Because I love him. After my first drawing, I was still very uncomfortable drawing him. I knew I would struggle to draw the sharp shapes in his designs, but knowing that didn't help me figure out how to get around that. I typically gravitate towards softer, rounder shapes, and those habits are hard to break when you draw a character outside the norm for you. Unfortunately, I couldn't focus on that at the moment because I came across another, more unexpected problem. I also just realized both of these faces that I've drawn so far are facing his left, our right, which is my weakest angle. If you were to like flip this, that would be the angle that I'm best at drawing. I should have thought about that when I was picking these images. And that sucked. Like, a lot. Because the more I drew, the more I realized most of the references I pulled were from that angle. So while filming, for my sanity, I decided to only redraw a panel with that angle if I was really feeling it. Because I was only on the second drawing, and I was already over it. I need to draw one from an angle I'm comfortable with. I think that'll help a lot. Because right now it's hard. Alright, so I took a peek at the next two from this volume. Got a front-on angle, which is nice. Why did I do this? Why did I do this to myself? I do think in this one I want to focus a little bit more on the hair because clearly I have not. Although, fun fact, I also struggle a bit with front angles, so we'll just pretend I did some smart stuff when I was planning this video. I really want to give him more of like a square-shaped head, but he has a pretty triangular head, which is like whenever I draw a character like Laxus, my instinct is always, oh, square head. You don't have that. The thing is, it's not just the head either. I very rarely draw large, muscular, masculine men, but whenever I do, I always gravitate towards square shapes. Good character designs have a good shape language, and squares and rectangles convey a strong, sturdy feeling. And while Laxus certainly has some of those in his designs, he has a lot more triangular shapes than I usually draw. It makes a lot of sense for his character because triangles convey aggression, and Laxus was introduced as an antagonist before he decided he wanted to be normal. Triangles can also convey unpredictability and suit active characters, which is also very fitting since he uses lightning magic. By the end of the third drawing, I still found it difficult, but I have to say my confidence went up when I was drawing at an angle that I was more comfortable with. I feel like I didn't have the eyebrows done. I feel like they're such a prominent, well, I guess everyone's eyebrows are a prominent part of their face, but a distinctive feature of his, I should say. Fairy Tale was such, it's inspiration for me growing up, but I feel like at times when I'm drawing them like in my style, it doesn't look that different. This one's definitely the strongest one so far. Do I really want to torture myself with this angle again? No, I'm not gonna. I already know it's probably gonna show up again. No, I'm not doing that. This is the face I should really be practicing. Now that I drew him a couple of times and had an idea of what I needed to work on, it was time to lock in. There were two main issues I was having: being comfortable drawing those sharp angles and triangular shapes, and I was consistently drawing him looking a bit younger than he is. So moving forward, I was sure to focus more on practicing those shapes and getting the proportions right. I was also sure to pay extra attention to his hair whenever there was a panel that showed it, because I was admittedly still ignoring it. His hair is one of the things that intimidated me the most about him, since it's made up entirely of those shapes that I am very uncomfortable drawing. At this point, I was both getting more confident in drawing his face and struggling with the angles of the references and translating his hair into something I can draw. So I was experiencing a mix of emotions. I kind of cooked this one. That's my boy. He's here. I have to draw him from this angle one more time. I swear to God, I'm gonna end it all. I just realized here that eye in his scar, like the pupil in his scar, tangent, so bad. Yeah, it kind of just has to happen that way, I guess, huh? If you haven't made a drawing where you're hovering like 3 inches above what you're drawing, have you ever really drawn anything? When I went through the manga to pick out panels to redraw, I was looking for a couple of things. First, I'd pick from pages where I thought his face was drawn well. Then I did my best to pick from a variety of facial expressions. With the exception of a few, this was actually fairly difficult. Laxus has a pretty mean case of resting bitch face, and when you combine that with the fact that he's emotionally constipated, he isn't one to show a wide range of emotions. On one hand, that made things easy for me when learning to draw his face. On the other hand, it made me overwhelmed when I did try to draw a more complex expression, because I wasn't sure how to go about pushing his features while still keeping his likeness. Overall, I had a good time trying to figure out how to draw him, but I definitely had to focus to make a drawing of him I liked. When drawing some of these, my mind would start to wander, and I was copying panels pretty absent-mindedly. And since I was going on autopilot and not being intentional with my lines, I would fall back into my typical drawing habits, all of which don't lend itself well to Laxus. But after filling 2 sketchbook spreads with him, I had a few faces that I was actually really proud of. But it's one thing to be able to redraw a manga panel, and it's another to be able to draw a character on your own. So the next step was to draw him on my own. I'd let myself look at references to help me remember what he looked like, but all the faces and expressions I would draw would be completely my own. Great start, Oliver. I mean, I should probably just do the basic, my comfort angle, if you will. I do have references open, and by open I mean I have 3 different volumes of manga just out of frame. And you know it was a struggle to get all 3 of them open at the same time. I'm like forgetting how his eyes look, and even though forgetting how his eyes look as if I didn't draw all of these. More flat on top and more curvy on the bottom, which is the opposite of what I've just drawn. That's how he is always looking so sick of everyone's shit. I feel like it's because of a lot of things, but the eye shape also. I'm just gonna have him staring straight ahead. He is not interested in what you have to say to him right now. Don't give him a tiny little twink neck. Ignore my head, you gotta do this sometimes. It's part of the artistic process. I don't know if I ever mentioned it in this video before, but he has great cheekbones. I can't decide if his face shape is shifting too much this way. Like, I don't know, it might could be more like this. I don't know if it's going too much like this, you know? Shame I'm doing this in my sketchbook and not on my tablet, because then I could just transform and just... Okay. We're getting somewhere. It doesn't look like hot dookie garbage, so I think we're improving here. I need to figure out his hair tuft. How it work. How do it. Sure, I'll figure it out eventually. Right? I mean, logically speaking, I'll figure it out eventually. Like, at the very least, I learned how to draw his actual face, and I call that a win. I think one of the main issues that I have when I draw his hair, I feel like I can draw the silhouette of it. I have a hard time drawing it as, like, a 3-dimensional shape. Like, I can draw the outline of it, but to make it look like he has, like, spiky hair that's sticking up, like in here, I feel like that looks weird. If I cover that up, looks fine, but trying to like add the finer details of his hair, I think that's where I'm struggling. I guess for now I just won't, and I'll focus on the shape first, and then I'll do that, maybe. Does seem right? And I think for the sake of this video, I am not going to try and draw his longer hairstyle because I'm struggling with this, and I don't want to learn to draw a second hairstyle. So we'll tackle that another day. I think back here it just needs to be a bit more, I don't know, it seems very square, and I feel like it needs to be more not square, you know? Yeah, he's arrived. I mean, let's draw a shirt on him, but other than that, he's arrived. I actually really like this face. All right, cool, this is going great. Let's see if I can, let's make another one. See if I can. I already don't like this that much, but you know, you must persevere. Maybe drawing the actual face will help. He does have a widow's peak, but I don't know how many people are gonna be like, this is not Laxus and did not draw his widow's peak. You remember to make his scar more jagged. I hate noses. Why do they look like that? I think we as a society should just say no to noses. We should just stop having them, you know?
Drawing the second headshot, I realized something. At this point, it wasn't necessarily the facial features I was struggling with, but more the placement of his features. I was getting more comfortable with the sharper shapes, but it would take several attempts to get them right. While that in itself isn't exactly a bad thing, it's obviously not ideal, especially when you're drawing traditionally, where changing stuff like that is a bit more of a struggle. Luckily, I had a trick up my sleeve.
I did learn about a method of drawing heads, so I want to try that, see if that'll help any.
And help any it did. The method in question is called the Loomis method. It's not too different from how I draw heads already. You start with a circle and crosshairs that basically everyone draws, but the main difference is you draw a second circle where the side of the head would be, complete with its own crosshairs. After this, you place the ear in the bottom corner closest to the circle's edge and use that to map out the rest of the facial features. Even though this isn't too much different from how I draw faces already, for some reason, this really helps me map out faces like his. I still struggle with drawing heads facing the viewers right, but this method even helped me with figuring out that angle. Going forward, I pretty much exclusively drew his head using this method. It did take a bit of getting used to drawing this way, but I was able to adapt pretty easily. By the time I finished filling out this page, I was drawing his face in a way that I liked pretty consistently.
You know, I gotta say, I'm relatively happy with all of these. I like this little embarrassed one in the corner. He can be a little socially awkward, and that's why we love him.
But wait, Laxus isn't just a floating head, and since I don't draw muscles very often, you know what that means. I have a pretty good general understanding of anatomy and proportions, but I definitely struggle with drawing larger muscular characters. I can draw torso muscles relatively well, but there's certain aspects that I kind of just make up. I also know the general structure of leg muscles, and don't even ask me how arm or back muscles work. So when I was drawing, I wanted to pay extra attention to those. When you're studying anatomy, you shouldn't just jump straight into the entire body. Instead, it's much more beneficial to work on specific areas first and then eventually work your way up to seeing how the entire body looks together. But mastering anatomy is not something you can do in an afternoon, so for the sake of this video, I thought I'd stick to just simple overall anatomy studies. First, I wanted to draw from a diagram of muscle structures to really help me identify what muscles go where. I was drawing from these diagrams I found online that I don't know where they came from, but they showed off the muscles very well, so I studied from that. Next, I wanted to draw different angles and action poses, all of which I got from the Masters of Anatomy books. I wanted to see how different artists stylized muscles, since Laxus has fairly stylized anatomy. These books are definitely very nice, not sponsored, I just think they're neat. This is something I know I'm going to have to keep up with in the future, but it's been something I've been meaning to practice anyways. So if you want to learn to draw muscles, here's my step-by-step guide. 1. Watch an anime. 2. Become unhealthily obsessed with a muscular man you simply must draw smooching another man. 3. Go nuts. I know Laxus doesn't always show a lot of skin, but it's still important to know general musculature so you can put down a stronger foundation for the rest of your drawing. And if nothing else, it was good practice for when I draw my other choice drawings. But with the anatomy tackled, I was ready to take on the final challenge, making a finished illustration of him.
Alright, let's see. Let's see if I've retained any sort of knowledge. I feel like it's been so long since I've done a marker illustration too, so this will be a good thing to see if I remember how to use markers. I'm trying to do this thing where I don't start with the head. You got to plot out the rest of the body. As you can probably tell from here, I tend to just go straight in with the head and then draw the body after, which is not typically recommended, but I've been drawing like that for as long as I can remember, and it's something that's really hard to break. I feel like it's still not as big as I wanted it to be. Shout out to all the artists that used to be primarily traditional art and then switched to primary digital and then tries to do traditional art again. I feel you. I see you. You're not alone. You know what I just said about the head, but I'm gonna sketch the head out a little more. Also, shout out to all the artists who tend to give good advice but doesn't follow it. I also see you. It is funny drawing a character like this though, and then having my paper clips be Kirby. This one's got a little lollipop. I am an artist who tends to take pictures of my own hands as reference whenever I need to have a specific reference of a hand. It's just a lot easier than scouring the internet. But also, I have really small hands. I don't know if you can tell. They're really tiny and skinny, which is the exact opposite of how Laxus's hands are, so that'll be fun. I really like the head angle in this thumbnail, and I feel like I can't replicate that. No, I actually hate that more. Well, I guess I'll just focus on drawing a head that I don't hate. I know a lot of you probably want to watch me draw the eyes, but I gotta get in here. I can't not draw eyes like this, I'm sorry. I really like to exaggerate his little floof. I feel like every single time I'm drawing it's this area right here, where I'm like, I don't know what's going on over here, which in theory it's the same as the rest of his hair, and yet thinking about it now, kind of regretting not doing this digitally. Now I have to hand draw this fur jacket instead of using a brush, and I'll give you a guess as to how excited I am for that. I really need to study arm muscles though. Like, I think I at this point have a pretty good understanding of like torso muscles, and then leg muscles I could probably improve on, but overall I think it's fine, like they're passable. But I feel like every single time I try to study arm muscles, like I never know what the fuck is going on there. I would ask my sister to help me with taking a reference picture, but then she might see that I'm drawing a fairy tale character and judge me for it. Not because she has anything against fairy tales, because she knows I have a problem. Alright, here we go. With my Invader Zim shirt. Y'all think Laxus would watch Invader Zim? Let me know in the comments down below. I guess on the bright side, since it's like you can't see all of the fingers, I feel like it'd be easier to make it look more proportionate to his body because you won't see a lot of it. I have a broken piece of lead. How long do you guys think it'll take to get another piece of lead out? There we are. Actually, one of the faster times it's taken. There's something, I don't know if I'm just hating how I draw hands in general, but there's something about it that feels off and I can't, dare I say, put my finger on it. Alright, you know what time it is again? Eyeball time. Everyone's favorite part of the video because you can't see what's happening, ironically enough. So shout out to electric erasers. If you don't have one, you don't need one, but they are nice. Hello?
Good humor. Guess who keeps going under my bed and licking herself?
Bear.
Still
I needed references for a hand, and I was thinking of asking you, but I was like, she's gonna see that I'm drawing a fairy tale character and she's gonna judge me.
would have done it, but I still would have been judging you.
Yeah, I know. But now you're here anyway. So it was
So now I'm judging you.
so it was completely pointless. Like I mentioned it in a video before, but like my sister got a Crunchyroll subscription and let me use it, and I like watched all the fairy tale, and then as soon as I was finished I went straight back to episode 1, started watching it again, and the energy of her like telling me to like watch something else reminds me of when like there's a dog who gets something that they're not supposed to have and you're just like, drop it, and then the dog stares at you for a minute and then you walk towards them and then they run away with a thing they're not supposed to have. It's like that. You're like, please, for the love of God, watch literally anything else. And I'm like, no. A little peek behind the curtain. I am listening to music right now. The song I am listening to is Bulletproof Heart by My Chemical Romance. And one of the lyrics is, Johnny, won't you come back home? But every single time I hear it, I mishear it as, Shawty, won't you come back home? And I'm like, I'm sorry, Shoddy? And I just needed to put that out there in the world. That song is in a playlist I've been listening to a lot, and I think of that every time this song comes on. Hand Struggle 2 Electric Boogaloo. Probably should have taken my ring off before taking this picture, but I am not taking another. I feel like whenever I draw a hand in a similar pose to this, I always struggle making the fingers look like they're curled and not like I just didn't draw the top part of the fingers. Is this a good arm? Can I at least pass it off as a good arm? I feel like I have so many like anatomy and proportion like quick tips. Like the hand is roughly the size of the face and the legs follow like this shape, so it's like that. I don't have anything for the arms. like, the arms are just, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out, I guess. So if you have any, hand them over. Please. I'm begging you. I wonder if first I should figure out the light source, because that might help with how I choose to color the lines. I think I'll just do it from this way. That's like, I feel like that's easy. Draw a little sun. They grow up so fast. Something I do remember of every single time I would try to film a traditional art, like a full finished piece in the past, is that I would try to include as much of my process as I can without it being boring. But the problem with line art is that I know a lot of people hate it, but I find it very calming and like almost meditative, because I just sit here and I do it and I don't really talk a lot. Doesn't make for a great video when you're drawing in real time. If I was smart, I probably would have waited to do that, so then that way would have less of a chance of smearing it, but no. How about that? I did also have a thought that me drawing his eyes while I'm leaning this close probably fucks up the autofocus and auto exposure, but doesn't mean I'm not gonna do it. It just means shit, you know? Fuck, I gotta do the fur again. Alright, here we go. I decided I wanted to have a dark area right here, and I probably should have planned ahead of time, but I didn't. So here's to hoping it looks fine. His jacket does also have a text around it, and I am going out of... I've been debating for this entire drawing if I'm going to do it or if I'm just gonna not. Oh, that's cool. Love that for me. Juno!
Just for her to run away.
I already have to deal with Abby and Zola opening my door while I'm filming. I don't need you to add to that.
Her opening doors is 10 times more annoying.
Yeah, because she doesn't even come in here. And then she also opens them so much more.
She pushes them on the way up in. The worst thing is she just runs away.
I'm literally drawing fur right now, Juno. I don't need this. Jesus Christ, this fur. Okay, we're almost done with the fur. We're almost done with it. Let's just tackle all the rest of the fur right now, so that way once I'm done, I'm really done. Until I gotta color it. I like how I said I was gonna do the fur, and then here I am, not doing the fur. Here's some thunder outside. How fitting. I did my color planning off camera because I don't know how interesting that'll be. Just picking out markers and staring at swatches in silence for entirely way too long. Something that I did that I sometimes do with my traditional illustrations is I plan out the shading and everything digitally. I'm gonna start with his eyes because they are very small in the frame, and the only thing in this drawing that are that color. Pretty sure his eyes are like a little more desaturated than this. I don't have any colors like that, so we're just working with what we got. Actually, I guess I could just do this because that part of its face will be in shadow. There's this fucking fruit fly that it's been here since yesterday, and it won't leave me alone. He kept flying in my face when I was filming something else the other day too. And that video is probably not gonna come out for like at least like 3 weeks after this one. So if you see a fruit fly, it's that same fucking fruit fly. I'm gonna have to really get in here to color his scar, huh? I hope none of you guys are devastated by the fact that you can't see me coloring his scar. It's just gotta be like this. What, ma'am? What? No, if you want to come over here and join me, you can. It's not like you haven't before. Don't need that marker too much, so I'm hoping whatever ink is in there will last. Because I do not want to take 5 steps across my room to get the refill. Why would I want to do that? Oh, okay, Abby. When I said you can join me, I didn't mean to put all of your claws into my leg. Please do not bump my arms while I am using alcohol markers. That is not what I need, Miss Abigail. And she's bumping my arms while I'm using alcohol markers. She's a cat, what else did I expect? A little bit of blush, not a lot, but enough to give him life. But also I generally add a lot of blush to my drawings, I think, so I say not a lot, but we'll see what happens. You know, I had a different marker and I was like, no, that's too dark for his scar color, but I just realized this whole part of his face is going to be in shading, so I'm going to have to use it anyway. This is really about to fall off, huh? Let's see if we can... Okay. This is fine. Please don't make me walk 5 steps to get a refill. I don't want to do that. I'm lazy. Gotta render his under eyes so everyone knows how tired he is. Although I say that as if I'm not a person who has permanent eye bags. They will not go away. Zoom back into the scar. You guys can look at how bad I need to dye my hair. I do have some markers I want to try experimenting with because I feel like when it comes to my shading with digital art, I'm a lot more experimental with colors. But here I'm just like Gotta shade the skin with the brown. That's how it goes. And I mean, like, it looks fine, but I feel like my colors in general are better on digital art because I have the ability to change the colors with relative ease. Because when you're using markers, you have to be a lot more intentional with the colors that you pick instead of just being like, I'll figure it out later. Because I don't really have that option. Let's see if putting in some of this blue ruins everything. I don't think it ruins everything. We need this marker again. See how smart. Oh! And that nib is fucked. It's fine. Oh, this is not. I wonder why my nibs get damaged. Can't think of a single reason. I still can't say I'm confident in my understanding of arm muscles, but I will say if there's any part of them that I am comfortable drawing, it's the lower arm, so thank you, Laxus, for not often showing too much skin. Oh yeah, that was definitely way too much blue right there. It's fine. I can fix it, I can fix it. Maybe. I can lift some with this colorless blender. I feel like that's how most people use colorless blenders, to like lift the colors, because they're like, whenever I try to blend, that's all it does. So I'll share the tip that I haven't shared in a while, but I feel like I share every time I use markers. Put the colorless blender down first, and then you put the colors on top. So wherever you want to blend it, you're like, I'll put some colorless blender here, and then you boop, 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 boop. And then that's how you use it. But you can also use it to do some color lifting. Not a whole lot, because if you use it too much, it'll be very noticeable that you're doing it, but you can use it a little bit. I didn't think I was going to use some colored pencils at the end of this, but I think I might. There's some parts that I'm not super happy with, but I know I could fix it with colored pencils. I feel like shading his hair is also difficult because it is spiky. I'll do my usual tricks. Now, why did that liner smear? This has been sitting on my desk fully inked for at least 3 days. Although if that were to happen to anybody, it would be me. Get a little crazy. Let's start with this color first. In hindsight, I probably should have planned the marker order a little bit better, but you know what? You know what they say. Fuck it, we ball. Excuse me, Kirby. Hope you don't mind me using your face to rest my hand on. How do I shade spiky hair? How do I do it? I was going to say it's probably like how I'm gonna shade the fluff on this collar, but I don't know how to do that either. Maybe I did once upon a time, but done forgot. I've been spoiled with digital art. I don't want to add too much to his hair, because I'm afraid it'll make a lot of it green, which is not his hair. Gay as that would be, it would not. It's not what I'm planning right now. Since I'm struggling with this type of texture anyway, I guess I'll just jump right into the fur. These ones. Or not, since these colors are light. I'll try and leave a white border that I'm most definitely gonna mess up and gonna have to use a white gel pen to fix later. By the way, if you are wondering which markers I am using, I use typically mostly Copic markers. This one that I am using right now is Sanjoki, and then I also have Ohu. Pretty sure the ones down here are gonna be completely in shadow. I went all the way to the bottom of the page, but I didn't with the line. I'll add some line art to that when I'm done coloring. I guess the bright side of drawing fur and fluff is that some of the texture peeks through. It's easier to hide. God, I gotta shade. Laxus, why? I mean, yes, your coat looks cool, but clearly not thinking about all of the fan artists out there. I can do it. I'm gonna be so brave. I have a feeling much of the fan art I'm gonna draw in the future, it's gonna be minus one article of clothing. You'll never guess which one. I'm only having mild regrets. I'll consider that a win, because we could be having major regrets, but we're not. We're only having mild regrets. That's great. Laxus, if you're watching this, you owe me money for this. I feel like there needs to be darker shadows in there, but I'll probably just wait until I get to the colored pencil stage. Did I do it? Was I a brave enough boy? This is what using markers is really like. You all of these markers uncapped, so that way you can blend easier and just pray you don't leave any stray marks anywhere. Now we start to darken it, and this is the part where I get scared because I'm afraid of making it too dark. The fur is still haunting me because I still have to be careful whenever I color around it. Oh yeah, I was debating whether or not I should add the texture. Considering that I forgot, I feel like I have my answer. I was not careful around his fingers. No, this marker left a big ink stain on my desk, but it's out of camera, so I straight up didn't have to tell you guys, but I did it anyway. Don't tell anyone, they don't gotta know I live like this. I'm also trying really hard to not rotate my sketchbook, because it'll make for a better viewing experience. And boy am I struggling, so y'all better appreciate it. Seriously fucked up his hands, huh? Sorry, bud. I think I'm definitely gonna save the rest for colored pencils, because I'm scared of fucking it up. That was the wrong marker. This is fine, it's a shadow. But I also just don't have a lot of purple. Well, that was a struggle I had picking out these markers, so I'm gonna have to for sure do a lot of colored pencil work on the shirt. Like, I don't know, I haven't bought markers in a while, but in the past, every single time I would buy them, I would just never think to buy purple. Whenever I use markers, I always try to color in a way where the inevitable marker streaks will be hidden by parts of the drawing, like how here I'm trying to make it so that those streaks are hidden in clothing folds. But I don't think I thought about it that much, so I'm struggling with it. But you know what? That's life. Alright, buddy, how's your shirt? How is your shirt? Is it comfy? But also, how do I shade it? The other area is unfortunately pretty flat. But there's not really much I can do about that now. So what are you licking? What are you doing? It's very disruptive to the video. Well, if you hear that, just know that my dog is being a little silly. I do remember something I used to do back when I did a lot of traditional illustrations. Whenever I would use my markers, I would have them it was like a Wolverine claw of markers. The Sanjokis are just a little bit too thick for me to do that, and I have little hands. I would definitely drop them and leave a lot of marks on my paper, and then get frustrated and be like, how could this have possibly happened? First and foremost, I should do a little bit of cleanup with a white gel pen, because that hand is I'm sorry. If there's anything I remember about my colored pencils, it's that I'm in desperate need of a white colored pencil. Yeah, that sounds about right. Guess I'll focus on the skin first, because I also want to fix that area where his cheek and his scar is very light. I don't want to make him into a blushing mess yet. Maybe if I put this blue down first and use the other colors to blend it out, something will happen. Hopefully something good, because I already did it. So I'll get the fur out of the way. Just staring at it like, yeah, I do gotta get back in there, huh? The fur in his jacket, I feel like, is such a specific color. The only one I really have is watercolor pencils. Well, they're gonna have to work, so long as I don't spill any water, which, honestly, knowing me, not off the table. In fact, it'll be on the table when I spill it. I don't know why I'm bothering to accurately render the fur in the crease of this page. I don't think anyone's gonna be looking there. Yet here I am, continuing to do it. Trying to add some shading to this area that I fucked up because I used the wrong marker. See, it's fine. Nothing ever happened. I've never done anything wrong. I did say I would continue the line art to down here. That way no one will ever know. Alright, let's see how much it bled. He's never looked better. I also normally try to spruce up a drawing with some washi tape or something, but again, I don't feel like it. I've always loved just adding white highlights to a drawing at the end. It's also how I started putting rim light on fucking everything. Can't help it, I'm sorry. I have to rotate it. I got this far, I can have one rotation as a treat.
And with that, my journey was complete. There were ups, there were downs, there were headshots facing the left that I had to fucking draw, but I did it. I figured out how to draw him. I know I'll have to keep drawing him so I don't just forget everything I learned in this video, but trust me, that won't be a problem. And if it's a character you love but feel like you can't draw, let this be your sign to sit down and figure out those strong baby girls. Because let's be honest, if you're watching my videos, that's who you like. Now, if you excuse me, I have to draw him being begrudgingly pulled into a friend group. I want to give a quick thank you to all of my patrons for helping make this video possible, especially my tiers 3 and 4 members. Big shout out to Jules, Sammy Bear 127, Sugar Cookie 2, Nyoko Arts, Sage Rosado, It's Dorky Arts, Castle Roodle, Jamie, JDios, Creatively Anxious, Dozzy Bones, Lauka 2, Jay Johnson, Vivi Brown, Bread, Fantastic Artist, Newly D, Joss, Blue Devil 4, Rin Rinny, Tina K, Oswin, Sammy the Boy Draws, Kenzie Blue, Flap, Caden, Anime Fan 110, Yuinaman, Art Iconics, Damaged Coda, Pretty Witchy Liachi, Deanna Riano, Boo, Sam, Soap Boy Ray, Desnook Arts, Nishi Studios, Fog Scorpio, Max D. Wellington, Inverse Planet, Saki Saki, Zoe235, Cosmic Wolf 326, Meteor Shower 04, Mediocre at Worst, Caleb Sanchez, Dinksalot, T, Next Door Sketch, Small Bean Soda, June, Sayel, Maramaya, Kira, Eliezer, Avocado is my name, Alex, Google Doc, and Rotting Rory. Thank you all so much for the extra support, it means a lot to me. And if you're interested in becoming a part of my Patreon, you can find the link in the description box below. Thank you all for watching. I had a lot of fun making this video. Let me know what you thought of this sort of editing style, because I had a lot of fun with it and I'm really proud of it, but it is a lot of work. So if you guys don't like it, then I'll never do it again. But if you do like it, be sure to let me know with a like and a comment, and maybe you'll see more videos with this style of editing in the future. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, I hope you liked it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.